Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Today is the day. Chapter 52 just dropped for Dragon Ball Super, and wow, there is so much to talk about. Let's get into it. Vegeta has finally arrived on planet Yadra, and I was kind of surprised. Vegeta actually didn't know the technique he wanted to learn. I mentioned back in chapter 51 that I thought he knew exactly the technique he wanted because he mentioned after learning it that he would surpass both Goku and Moro, but he straight up just asks if they have a technique that he can beat Moro with. Now, the Yadrats do mention there must be a misunderstanding as they are not blessed with a great wealth of techniques. Instead, they devote themselves to using what's called spirit control. Now, I was seeing rumors online that people thought this would be a similar ability to Nen, which it very well could be because in Hunter x Hunter, Nen is simply a technique that allows someone to manipulate their own life energy. The Yadrats mention spirit control is achieved by shifting, splitting, and growing one's very spirit. And also everyone on Yadrat can use spirit control. So reading that tells me it is pretty similar to Nen in a lot of ways, and what I think is interesting about this is how it leaves the technique very open in that I think after Vegeta trains and learns spirit control, he's not only going to achieve just one ability, he's going to achieve many abilities. And I think he will even create his own unique ones that not even the Yadrats maybe even thought about. After reading that line, I definitely now think Vegeta is going to learn instant transmission, but I think that is only going to be one ability among many that he'll be using against Moro. I feel like with what they have shown us, Vegeta could do something like make tons of copies of himself and constantly teleport around to his copies so Moro can't tell which one is the real Vegeta, and maybe making a copy of himself that turns huge while he teleports to another spot just to distract the enemy with a giant version of himself while he, prepares some kind of offensive attack. I'm only really scratching the surface on these ideas. There's so many possibilities, and that's only mentioning what we've seen so far. Alright, let's focus on Piccolo for a minute, because my man finally is getting some attention. I mentioned in my last review that I wanted to see the Earth characters get more love and time to shine. We knew some of Moro's soldiers were heading to Earth for that blue Aurum, and so when they finally arrive, Piccolo notices their chi right away, and he heads to them and simply asks what they want. But sure enough, one of them fire on Piccolo, and so Piccolo handles them pretty easily. So after getting defeated by Piccolo, they call back to Moro and tell Moro to bring more soldiers to Earth, and Jacko talks to Bulma telling her they need more help and they want to recruit Piccolo, but then they mention if she could also ask for Gohan, and wait for it, the bald ones. Yes, as soon as I read that line, I literally gave an awkward fist pump because this is exactly what I wanted. Like I said, I wanted the Earth characters to have a role, and now we are getting exactly that. Krillin, Tien, maybe Roshi joining the fight, and what makes me so excited about this is that they aren't dealing with Moro directly, they're dealing with the soldiers. So this means we actually get to see Krillin and the others fight enemies that are actually a good match for them, and not just being cheerleaders this time around. Seriously, I can talk about this all day, but I need to give Toyotaro so much credit here. He managed to solve the massive issue I've had with this series for a very long time. Every character, even Gohan, got shafted since pretty much the Buu arc. Yeah, he obtained Mystic, but then several episodes later he just got bodied by Buu, and again the show heavily focused on just Goku and Vegeta. This to me was okay for a short time, but when you constantly develop only two characters and leave everyone falling behind, it just starts to get really boring. This is a series with a ton of characters and everyone has a different favorite character. Despite Goku and Vegeta being obvious favorites, you gotta throw some love to the rest of us who love Piccolo, Krillin, Tien, Roshi. And you can't even forget about Yamcha or even Chaozu. So let's get back to Goku, who's right now training with Merus. And so Merus knew right away Goku was trying to obtain Ultra Instinct. And Goku mentions that the Super Saiyan technique is triggered by rage. Of course, unless you are from Universe 6, then it's triggered by back tingles. Anyways, Merus mentions to achieve Ultra Instinct, it's actually the opposite. And he mentions to Goku he has to achieve self-control when in the face of a shock to his emotions. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Now, we get to see a place we're very familiar with, and that's the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, or also known as the Room of Spirit and Time. I thought this was such a cool idea that you could enter this dimension from different locations, and it just makes a lot of sense that other beings could access this place as well. Though I'm curious if this is the same hyperbolic time chamber we have on Earth, because Merus mentions 1 day in the outside world is 3 days in the Room of Spirit and Time. I'm pretty sure for the one on Earth, every day spent in there equals 1 year. So the effects are less extreme, but for Merus, this wasn't what he cared about anyway. The reason he wanted to train in the chamber in the first place was so he could unleash his full power. I mean, in the last chapter, he was putting in easy work against the Super Saiyan 3 and a Super Saiyan God form. I just want to know, how powerful is this guy? And why doesn't he want others to know how powerful he really is? I guess it could be for strategy reasons, so he only uses it in desperate situations. But Moro seems like a pretty desperate situation, and he never used his full power against him. But that could also be because power isn't enough to beat Moro, and Merus knows it, so he probably didn't want to bother showing his full hand just yet. I'm wondering if Merus can maybe use a weakened version of Ultra Instinct, kind of like how Roshi showed slivers of the technique himself against Jiren. I think that would be pretty cool to see, and there's clearly a lot more to Merus than we are being told so far, so I can't wait to see more development on that. Overall though, just wow. This was an incredible chapter with just so much information given to us. I love these kind of chapters because it just furthers our understanding of the show and lets us think and talk about what's going to happen next. Now, we will have to wait another month for chapter 53, but I'm so happy with what we got, and Toyotoro is killing it right now. And I want to hear what you guys thought as well. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment below and stay tuned for my next video.